What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and today we're going to be talking about some of the latest topics in the world of cryptocurrency. Now, I realize a lot of you guys like the edited videos more than the live streams, and that's really going to be the focus. I don't ever want it to just become kind of the standard run-of-the-mill content that you see on a lot of YouTube channels. No offense to that. It's still good content. Not really my cup of tea. I'm more into the comedy and that type of thing. But I am going to be doing a video today. We're going to stream. We're going to talk about some of the topics. We're going to talk about some of the price stuff. I say that with not almost. I say that with zero technical expertise. And we got a few shots in the chat here really quick. Jesus, you guys really just poured into the mix here. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you here. Hopefully, we can talk about some subjects you guys are going to find interesting. All right. Well, let's just start off with talking about how things have been going in sort of a general sense, because I know a lot of people have been getting a little rattled lately. Obviously, in the last week or so, or 4 or 5 days at least, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in the price. That's been good. But I know a lot of people have been a little bit rattled, and maybe, I mean, I've seen people that I know, some of my friends who have said, like, you know, maybe it's time to just leave crypto. Maybe it's dead. Maybe this is over. And I think it's really important to have a good understanding of, look, like, you know, sometimes particularly speculative markets, they're going to have bigger swings than normal than a lot of industries. And not too much has changed from a fundamental value perspective of these currencies right now versus December or January. In fact, a lot of the tech has actually advanced in several different ways, and we're seeing more and more interesting products come forward. So I don't think that, oh man, now that everything's going down, it's time to abandon ship. In fact, in general, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, but in general, my advice would be in times like this where price drops a lot, you tend to try and look to make some plays, look to maybe like invest a little bit more. And then in times where price is surging, you sell some. Now, obviously, when price was surging before, every Bitcoin maximalist was like, oh, sell? I never sell. That's why I bought all my Bitcoin at $10. And that's great. If you're okay with writing out the variance that will happen in the price of crypto, by all means, go for it. I think that's really your right to do so. But for those who want to take maybe more like a middle ground approach, certainly something that I generally have recommended. I recommended it when Bitcoin was 20K. I'm recommending it today. With a more middle ground approach, you know, when there's blood in the streets, that's the time to buy, as Warren Buffett said. I'm making it a little less eloquent, but that's the time to buy. And then when everything is going great and it's crushing, that's the time to maybe sell and have a little more cash in hand to make some plays should things move in a different direction. Anyway, I do want to welcome everyone to the chat here. We got a bunch of people stopping by. I do appreciate that, guys. A lot of fans of the channel in the chat. Some Monero people. Good to see you guys here too. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the title really quick here. I'm going to be doing a giveaway. And if you guys know me from poker, this is something I've done several times. In fact, over the last year and a half, I think I've given away something between $40,000 and $50,000. Generally speaking, it works like this. I play a poker tournament and I give away a few percentage points of my action. And then if I score, then you guys win some money. And last year, I think I gave away 2% of my action over the summer, and I won a tournament for like several million. I ended up giving away like $30-something thousand. I also had a cash game session last year where I gave away, I think, $14,000. Basically, turns out that I'm actually at least somewhat decent at poker, although I've not been playing too much lately. And I want you guys to have a chance to be able to take part in that giveaway. If you want to enter, you do have to follow me and subscribe to my socials or join the email list for a couple of the sites that I own. If you don't want to do that, that's cool. If you do want to enter the giveaway, again, it's probably something around, I'm just going to estimate here, like an $800 to $1,000 value. Could be worth a lot of money if I run deep. And then, of course, you can follow me along there as well. If you want to see how I'm doing in the tournament itself, I'll be over on Instagram at Doug Polk Poker. I put a link in the description below if you want to enter. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in, take a look at some of the price stuff, and then let's look at some articles, and we're going to go from there. How about that? How's that sound, guys? Again, oh shit, this is not really what we should be doing. Let's not look at me. Okay, shit, did that actually... That did right. Okay, cool. Oh, there we go. All right, so for starters, let's kick it off here. Again, I will mainly be doing edited content. I just wanted to get a live stream out today, get the word out. If you do win the giveaway, by the way, happy to pay you in Bitcoin. Okay, let's take a look at some of the prices here of the top 10 coins. Now, things have really changed around a lot over the last 6 months or so. We're seeing Bitcoin around 6,600. For those of you who did not see the podcast that I did with Tone Vase last week, You might remember that I had a bet with Tone. If Bitcoin goes under 6,000, then I would lose $10,000. And unfortunately, that happened. Not by a lot, but it did in fact happen. And so I lost $10,000 to Tone Vase. Not my finest moment, but I've lost $10,000 before. Some of you guys might remember the Phil Hellmuth bet. I need to win more prop bets. That's really kind of where I'm coming from. Regardless, I'm a Bitcoin bull long term. I do think that we're going to turn this ship around. We already have to the tune of something around 10-12% of the total Bitcoin price. And I do think it's important to kind of take a grand perspective of Bitcoin. You know, I think this is a video I'm actually going to do at some point in the near future, talking about the history of Bitcoin, because some people seem to really forget. You know, I see so many people gloating, oh man, Bitcoin is getting owned. I knew Bitcoin was a scam. It's like, let's just like kind of take big picture here. You know, start 2017, Bitcoin was at like $1,000, right? Something in that vicinity, $900 to $1,000. And here we are at Bitcoin at 6,600 just a year and a half later. Now there were swings. At one point it was 20K, now it's at 6,600. Obviously it moves around. But is that really, you know, proof you were right? I knew it, guys. Bitcoin is dead. No, Bitcoin still has a $110 billion market cap, okay? That's not dead, all right? It's not. It's still fairly valuable, and I think that over time it will continue to increase in value. Because a lot of people, you know, support digital currency and support the idea of not having governments control the money supply and blah, blah, blah. I don't have to get into all of the details, but the main point remains that it's important to take like a much bigger perspective of this, which is, where are we at now relative to where we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago? And for sure, there are going to be down years. You know, like I think back to when I got into Bitcoin in 2013. You know, we saw that huge spike in price. We saw it spike all the way up to something around like $1,200, and then crash. And then it took a couple of years for anything to really happen at all. You know, and that's probably going to happen in the future. It's not just going to be all you know, smooth sailing and just crushing it every day. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth. It doesn't mean it's not worth something as well. There's a middle ground there, and that's really like where you want to be. You want to be realistic. Also understand opportunity when prices do drop, but also not be like 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin no matter what, right? Because that's a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe a little too idealistic. Okay. A few shout outs in the chat, by the way, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. We see Edward Fisher. Don't see the link. The link should be in the description below. If it's not, you can follow me over on Twitter. I pinned it to my Twitter profile. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat as well. If you want to enter the giveaway, you can find it over there. Okay, so Bitcoin 6,600, Ethereum. Now, what's interesting to me about Ethereum is I think back to January and February, the price of Ethereum was really holding a lot stronger than Bitcoin. I actually kind of remember a lot of people that were very bullish on Ethereum being like, you guys should have had some Ether. Maybe your portfolio would be holding up a little bit better. But we have seen the price of Ethereum crash in a similar fashion. Maybe the total peak to trough here is a little smaller, but I think it's just about there now. I think we saw Ethereum get to something around 1,300. Maybe someone in the chat could confirm for me what the actual peak price for Ethereum was. But Ethereum did hold its value in a way that Bitcoin didn't for a couple of months there. Now, my personal opinion on Ethereum, they are trying to upgrade the network in several different ways this year. But I do think that they have fronts they have to compete on. The thing for Bitcoin is that because it's store of value, you can't really compete on store of value with better tech, right? So it's a way that because Bitcoin is the first mover, and because it has you know, these network effects of being the largest currency, it manages to sustain that store of value in a way that I think makes it a much safer play. Well, Ethereum, the price is based around a wider variety of factors. I think that those factors really include trying to be the center place for dApps, and there's competition there. This is something we've talked about a bunch of times on this channel. We see EOS, we see Cardano at some point once it launches. We've seen Neo. We see a lot of different competitors in the space, and we're also seeing more and more ICOs choose to use some of those blockchains over the Ethereum network. Specifically, the Neo network has had several different ICOs, or a lot of ICOs rather, starting to pop up there. So what does that mean for the price of Ethereum? It makes me think that less ICOs will happen there. I think there'll be less demand for Ethereum in general. I think that these ICOs are one of the main things that has propped the price up for a long time. Does that mean I think Ethereum will fail? No, I think there are very smart people working at Ethereum. I just feel like the price given the overall ecosystem is maybe a little high. But what do I know? I don't know anything. I make YouTube videos. Okay, Ripple is worth 50 cents. That's totally reasonable. I mean, like Ethereum, by this logic, right? If Ripple is worth 50 cents, maybe Ethereum should be $5,000. It makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think. I don't know why Ripple is still a thing. They are still giving away money. They are still getting people to support it. This is the world we live in. All right, Bitcoin Cash. I'm not too up to date on what's happening with Bitcoin Cash. I did see Bitcoin Cash had a pretty good day the other day. It was actually a little stronger than Bitcoin on that day with the uptick. But still the fourth largest cryptocurrency by market cap, so certainly doing something right. EOS, I'm not a huge fan of. I've said this from the beginning. I'm not into the really huge market cap coins before they even had launched their mainnet, which they did launch recently. But in general, I would be a little wary of EOS and also specifically the founder. What's his name? Brock Pierce. Sort of a weird dude. I have done very little research on EOS. So if you're an EOS fan and you're thinking, wow, Doug, way to spread FUD, I'm going to be very clear. I have not done much research on EOS because I think its market cap was already a little too ridiculous for me at the point where I was considering possibly investing. By the way, shout out to Paul Lindsay. $5 donation. Good luck at the WSP, Doug. Appreciate that, man. And Rolex23. Can you send me the free Bitcoin? And what's your opinion on VeChain and Cardano? Thank you. I don't really have opinions on those because I've not really researched them at all. Frankly, that's like one of the most scary things about making crypto content is there are just so many things going on nonstop all over the place. And people will like watch a video and they're like, wow, you don't even know about the latest developments on one of, the top 30 coins. Wow, what are you doing? And it's like, dude, I honestly, like, I'm a person, I'm a human being. I'm trying to live my life. I'm not going to know about every update and roll out. And I'm going to say things wrong sometimes. Usually I'll correct myself in the next video if I think it's important. Or I do like to ask you guys, for your opinion so I can try and be informed with my decisions. But again, like I'm one person and like I can only do so many things with my time. If you guys are ever considering, purchasing something, you have the ability to spend time researching and finding out things that can be really narrow in a really narrow scope that could help you long run. I'd certainly recommend doing that. Human from Earth, if it doesn't have a working product, is a scam. P3D has a working product. Do your own research. FOMO mainnet this Sunday. FOMO 3D. I don't know what P3D is, but yeah, if it doesn't have a working product, it's certainly something you should be more skeptical of. And this is why a lot of the more old school guys tend to think of a lot of these ICOs as just scams. Because they're basically, you're giving them money and they're promising something in the future, and that's kind of like more of like a new school thing happening in general. Personally, I think I have a little more nuanced of a view, which is that I don't think that a lot of these projects are scams if they are working to try and create something. I think that, we see these like Bitcoin maximalists versus ICO guys kind of like clash. And the reality is that there will be ICOs that are good value. There will be cryptocurrencies that will change the space. But you should be skeptical. If someone says, hey guys, we're going on a voyage and we're going to have 6 steps and eventually it's going to end in the Odyssey where we have everything, then you might want to be skeptical of Tron, or that was a hypothetical example. So definitely be careful and, try to inform yourself as much as possible. Rolex23, Doug, thank you, by the way, man. Do you think Bitcoin will reach 5,200 ever? I think on average it will reach that, but I'm hoping not, man. I don't do any technical analysis, or I don't think any, let's just say I don't know. Okay. One thing, let's move on actually. Litecoin, holding somewhat all right through the madness. Cardano obviously has taken a big hit from its peak positioning. Stellar doing all right. IOTA doing okay as well. NEO actually was a lot higher in the rankings, but they took some hits here too. We're going to get into talking about NEO a little bit later in the stream. There's a couple articles on Reddit that I'd like to discuss at least. All right. Dash, by the way, I sold the rest of my Dash recently. I just don't think Dash has a place in the current ecosystem. I think that there are too many newer blockchains that kind of compete on Dash's almost exact premise, which is speed. Uh, yes, they have like private functions and stuff, but they don't. I mean, they don't do it in a way that's like actually private, or maybe I should say meaningfully private, because I think their transactions are actually private. But the problem is, if you have a network and most of the transactions aren't private, well, if no one's using the privacy feature, then it ends up not really being that useful. Whereas something like Monero, all of the transactions are private by default. Also, Monero's price has dropped a bit, I think, relative to some of the other guys around it. I do still believe long run in Monero. Okay, there's something I want to talk about really quick, and I know that you guys are probably like, Doug, we're actually expert traders, so this won't apply to me. But it's just a little something that I thought was important. Recently, CoinCentral, we rolled out our prices so that you can see what the price is. It tends to be a thing people people enjoy in the crypto space. And we felt that something that was important here was to put relative volume in. And the reason that we think relative volume is important is basically it's if you take the market cap and you divide it by the 24-hour volume, it shows you what percentage of the market cap is being traded. And what that really tells you is its liquidity. And something I think a lot of people don't realize when they start to look at cryptocurrency or investing or trading, they don't understand how important that liquidity is, because if you can't buy and sell your position, then the price isn't really very real. And we see this a lot with very small market cap coins. We see a market cap coin with $10 million market cap, but very little liquidity. I mean, 10 million also a small market cap. Well, it kind of doesn't matter what the price is in that example because you can't sell your bags, which is why I'm asking, is anyone out there taking BitClave? No, I'm kidding. I kid, but I believe in the BitClave, okay? I think we're going to turn around at some point here. All jokes aside, it's just funny. It's funny because it hurts. And when it hurts, that's when you get the best laugh. No, I think that they'll turn it around. All they have to do is beat Google. Okay, so moving on. Relative volume, it gives you a good indicator into how liquid your position is. And so we see, Bitcoin, 4% relative volume, EOS, very high relative volume. Tether gets traded nonstop around the clock because 90% of people think Tether will go bust, and then it seems like 10% of people will just buy any cheap Tether that they possibly can. So yeah, and you know what? That's something that's kind of interesting. We saw a story break recently where people were talking about Tether, and they were saying, yeah, some attorneys came out and said that Tether has the money. And I did a video on Tether where I got blatantly accused of being a Tether shill, and that's just not fair. I've not owned any Tether almost ever, other than maybe transferring in and out just for a moment. But my argument is that markets tend to be efficient, and if the head people at Tether were like thinking, if they knew what was going on, and they own Tether, were like, this is a total scam, okay? And everyone in the knew it was a scam, it would not trade at $1. Okay, it would not. It would not trade $1 because then they could sell all their Tether at $1. The insiders would profit, blah, 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 etc. So markets tend to be fairly efficient. Now, I'm not saying Tether is 100% not a scam. I'm not, because I don't know. I don't work at Tether. And I'm going to preface anything in this space with I don't know. Okay, I don't know anything. Why are you watching? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so here's the thing about Tether. I think given that markets tend to be efficient-ish, I believe that the Tether has it together. But we'll see. Tether has made its way into the top 10, so if you did only buy Tether and hold that, you were ahead of the curve. Who's laughing now? You own all your money in Tether. Okay, so Tether definitely into the top 10 for the time being. IOTA, I haven't followed up too much on that in general, but it is worth mentioning that they are a little bit on the rebound here. I've not really looked into IOTA at all. Frankly, once I see some things I don't like about currency, I tend to stop looking into them. IOTA has had some problems in the past. We've talked about this many times before. No need to beat that dead horse. Anyway, just to kind of clarify, or just to sum up, relative volume is a very important metric that I think you guys should maybe consider using, especially when it comes to some of the smaller cap coins. Is there anything else I really want to talk about here? Neo, talked about that a bit. VeChain, I don't really know anything about. Everyone always asks me about, so I'm not going to look into it. I don't think there's anything too too crazy. Decred's been slowly moving up the rankings. That's another one to look into. I actually don't own any Decred, but I do like what they're doing. Hybrid proof of stake model. Verge, man, it's just shocking to see Verge has been losing its value more relative to the other projects because, like, frankly, I think porn is the future. There's just no doubt about that. Okay. Let's move on into talking about. The latest news. Now, I say news because the way that it works here in the crypto sphere is pretty much technically anything qualifies as news. All you have to do is put up an article that says something good and then get your squad fam to just rally together and upvote it to pieces, which is why I see EOS Tribe and so many names. But it's still good to talk about some news in general. And I want to start off with talking about this article from Neo, and I really thought it was interesting because it was mainly in Chinese, so I couldn't read this. But it says in the English part, while the market changes, Neo's vision remains unchanged from this first step of decentralization. A new era of Neo ecosystems is about to unveil. Shout out to the crypto judge. Give me that Bitcoin, but spelled Bicone. Give me that Bicone. Okay. So, one of the main complaints about Neo is the degree of centralization. There are not many nodes. Now, I don't know what it's like currently, but I know before, at least a few months ago, there was something around 7 to 11 nodes in the network in its entirety, and that's something that a lot of people are worried about. And we've talked about centralization on this channel a few times. But the main point is I think that decentralization has its place for a lot of different currencies. And it particularly makes sense when we're looking at something that's store value like Bitcoin. Obviously, it's more important for Bitcoin, the primary cryptocurrency store value, to be decentralized than it is these platforms more based around dApps. Because for dApps, it's more important that they work well. For your money, it's more important that no one can control it and decide what happens with it and stuff like that. So because of that, I don't particularly see a huge issue with centralization on these platforms, right? And I'm not saying like I'm like a fan of centralization in general, but there are things that clearly need to be centralized. You know, the word decentralized is kind of like a buzzword. You just throw decentralized in there and it's like everyone's like, oh, sweet, it's decentralized. But you do that at the expense of oftentimes, it working well. And I think the best example, for example, right now currently are exchanges versus decentralized exchanges. Exchanges have an incentive for their platforms to run smoothly, and that incentive is profit. Whereas decentralized exchanges, the development tends to be much slower. They tend to be a lot worse platforms. I'm sure over time this might change, but the point remains that I do think that having an incentive for companies to offer you a better product can be good in many areas, right? I think we see that all over the place. So it's always that kind of balancing act of like, what's the correct degree of decentralization? What makes more sense given this project specifically? And my recommendation to you would be, don't just say like, oh, it's centralized, I'm over it, like, or whatever I guess people say. Think about like how important is it for it to be decentralized? Now, I'm not saying that like Neo should be as centralized as it is. If they want to take steps towards trying to rectify that situation, doing whatever this thing says in Chinese, that sounds good to me. I like Chinese food and I like Neo, so it frankly just makes sense. But the point remains, don't just auto hate something because you think that it is centralized. Okay. I did a lot of research on that before I pulled up the stream, so you guys are welcome. All right, warning. It costs $17 to create an EOS account. Also, storing data is almost as expensive as in Ethereum. Most of the time, more expensive. Now, when I see things like this, okay, this sentence, this is a good example to be sort of wary, because I find that this sentence oftentimes, and I'm not saying it's wrong, it could very well be right, but the structure of it is usually someone who doesn't own EOS and might own Ethereum. Now, in general, you should kind of like they're trying to quantify the data, which is how expensive it is relative to other things, which is fine. But again, it's better to have like, you know, dollar amounts or Bitcoin amounts or you know, something like more more easy to see rather than just like kind of like sensationalize it. Because now what happens is this gets Ethereum fans to upvote because they're like, oh yeah, fuck EOS, I'm into Ethereum. And I think that mentality on both sides of the equation is something that you probably want to try to avoid whenever possible. Okay. I thought running dApps on a centralized shitcoin should be almost free, but turns out not only do you have to hold millions of dollars in EOS just for CPU usage, you have to buy RAM as well. I was shocked when I did the math. 1 kilobyte of RAM costs $4, so 32 bytes would cost you 14 cents. Storing 32 bytes in Ethereum costs 20,000 gas. So if the price is less than 15 GWEI, which I don't know what that means, it was 1 GWEI for a couple weeks until the exchange incident. Ethereum is cheaper than the fucking coin that promised to be thousands of times more accessible than it. So why did they sacrifice decentralization and raise $4 billion again? Okay, and it's funny to me to see Ethereum people go after other coins for centralization when I see like the Bitcoin guys go after Ethereum in some regards for centralization. I think back to like the DAO hack and fork from Ethereum Classic. But regardless, it's potentially a good question. It is potentially a good question. I wish I knew more about EOS, to be honest with you guys, but I do know that if you do not have an EOS account, then after a certain set period of time, they are able to take your money. Seems legit. Be careful, man. Just be careful out there. I don't want to get the EOS guys just hating on me because I don't know that much about EOS. But if you have to have an account and it costs an amount of money to make, and your money can get confiscated, I don't really believe in that stuff. I think your money should be yours. Like what is this? A bank? I don't really understand. Okay, so moving on. I thought this was pretty funny. These billboards all over the valley in LA. I don't think this guy is helping adoption. We accept Bitcoin, and he's got a missing front tooth. Yeah, that's not. It's not a good look for Bitcoin. Hey guys, this is the future. By the way, I don't have one of my front teeth, but I believe in Bitcoin. I don't believe in teeth or like, you know, mouths, as they say. But Bitcoin is definitely the future. Maybe I could buy a tooth, or I won't because I don't think that teeth are the... I really don't know what this guy was thinking. It doesn't really make sense. Doug Polk, I don't actually know what a GWEI is. GWI? Yeah, that's correct. I don't. Gigawatt... No, I don't know. I really don't. Okay. Moving on. Coinbase custody already has 10 institutional clients using its services. You guys might remember this story broke a month or two ago that Coinbase... What the hell? What's CRP? Don't actually know what that is. You might remember the story that broke a little bit ago that Coinbase was allowing institutions to use their services. It was an announcement that was made. People were excited about it, and they forgot about it because Bitcoin price dropped again. Everyone went into panic mode. But this is good. Institutional money will have a much bigger effect on the marketplace than individual buyers, which is one of the reasons why I think some of the technical analysis stuff isn't too accurate, is that when you think about what some guy who might buy 2 Bitcoin will do when it hits a certain price, it sort of pales in comparison to what like massive institutions are willing to, or what they're trying to do. And that's really what's going to cause, you know, a significant increase in the value of Bitcoin, are institutions being able to purchase coins. Okay, let's take a look at the article for a sec. The pick is fuzzy. Am I fuzzy, or is... Look really quick. This looks good. Now that was probably crazy. Okay, they launched their custodial service and already have 10 institutional customers. Some more stuff about this. If you want to read about it, you can go ahead and head over to Reddit because we don't have time for that. All right, moving on. Where am I? Okay. If you want to try and win some Bitcoin, there is a link in the description below. Oh shit, why? All right. Red Drum, I still can't believe Tone Base won the bet. What the hell is going on here? Okay, yeah, I'm with you, man. I wish he didn't. Because I like money, and also I like Bitcoin. I lost a lot more money on the price going down than I did to Tone Vase. That's for sure. Let's see. Any other stories jump out at us? It's not our cryptocurrency without a Nano article, but is there a VeChain one? That's what the people want to know. Do we have a VeChain article anywhere? Vertcoin. One of the classics. Icon, another one of the classics. No VeChain. Slow day here. Okay, some ICOs are worth looking at. Let's take a look. Never heard any of these. Okay, let's go back. I don't know what I was expecting. I really don't know what I was expecting. You know, it's tough. There's no link. What do you mean there's no link to the giveaway? To that? Is it not in the not in the video? It's not in the video? Oh, I didn't put the link in the video. Well, how about that, guys? I'm sorry I did that to you. Boom. Link is in the description. Do I dislike Nano? No, I don't dislike Nano. All right, the name change is kind of like whatever to me. I don't dislike Nano. I'm okay with the idea of really high transaction per second cryptocurrency. I'm fine with that. I dislike when everyone just like joins together and just like basically brigades a subreddit to like get their thing to the top. I don't know, man. I don't really have a good solution for it either. I'm not really sure what you're supposed to be doing to help fix it, but it's real bad on our cryptocurrency where people just like come in and they just like, you know, upvote their VeChain article because, dude, did you hear what happened to VeChain? Partnership with Microsoft, someone's using a spreadsheet. Yeah. I don't even know much about VeChain. Straight up. Actually, that's just a really important thing for me, guys. Like, I will never lie to you. I will oftentimes tell you I don't know what's going on, and I'm also fine saying what I personally have chosen to invest my money in. But I'm never gonna lie to you. I'm never gonna say that I think it's that. I'm never gonna say that you will make money. I'm never gonna say I'm somehow an expert in tech or trading or any of that shit. I'm just always going to be straight up with you guys. That's really the most important thing to me. All right, finance. My dad, 50-year-old accountant, paid me in crypto to mow the lawn, helping adoption with old people. It must be a slow day on our cryptocurrency. That's just I'm just kind of taking that away from this. Okay, so should old people get involved in cryptocurrency? Thought about this a lot. I lean towards no. Here's the reason why, okay? Here's the reason why. And I feel, this is a story I feel really bad about, to be honest with you. So back when Bitcoin was $500, I was telling all my friends and family and people I knew that I really felt like Bitcoin was a good investment, long run, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this was back in like 13, 14, 15, I forget. And an older gentleman who I was talking to decided that he believed in me. And he went out and he bought, I don't know, like 10 Bitcoin or something at $500. And he had it on an exchange and he didn't really ever figure out how to hold it himself. And then a couple years later, a few years last year, I asked him, where is it? And it was still on the exchange. And I looked up the exchange and it turned out that exchange was a scam, or they scammed the money and he lost all his Bitcoin. And when I see that, I'm like, God damn it. Why? I feel really bad because they actually listened to me and decided to buy and then like got scammed because they just couldn't figure out how to hold the money. And that's an important thing. Like people that like in a way Bitcoin's like owning a gun. You know, if you're not going to be responsible with it, you probably shouldn't own it, right? If they're not going to know how to store it or what their address is or like what a hardware wallet is or like, you know, how to like separate their key in a different place. If they're not going to be able to like really be responsible with holding that cryptocurrency, should they own it? And I'm sure all of the cryptocurrency, you know, bulls are like, everyone should own some cryptocurrency. I don't think that. I don't think 70-year-old people should own cryptocurrency if they can't figure out how to store it. I don't know if that's just me. Look, it's a different generation, right? I look at our generation. I say our generation. I'm saying people 20 to 40 years old roughly or younger. I think we're a little more with it with the computers and the technology and the what have you, right? I think so. But should the older generation get involved? I don't know. A lot of people are going to get scammed, man. Think about all the fake giveaways. A lot of people are going to get scammed. And if you think about like all the Nigerian prince stuff, that was really to go after old people. I don't know, just food for thought. Daniel Erazo donating $2. I bought Lux because of you. That's on me. I'm sorry, man. If it makes you feel better, I still own my Lux. I don't think it makes you feel better. Also, Brendan Stubbs, $2 donation shout out from Australia. Awesome, man. Thanks. stopping by. Okay, I put the link up in the description. The link is on Twitter. The link is it should be on. It's not beneath me. I think it is. It should be there. It should be there. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm not hating on cryptocurrency, but like we should be responsible, right? I think we should be responsible. That's just my opinion. Mow your lawn. I'm thinking that people are rattled right now. Thinking people are rattled. Let's head over to our Bitcoin, which is even worse. All right. That's a picture of, was it LOP? One Bitcoin dev was detained for 12 hours at the U.S. airport after telling them he was there to attend a Bitcoin conference. After a shift change, no one knew why he was being detained, and he was released. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, this was LOP. This guy's definitely a good follow on Twitter, by the way. All right. We're gonna go ahead and wind this down. Also, there's an article over on Coin Central that I wanted to take a look at. I think I checked earlier. I don't think there was. Okay. All right, guys. That's I'm flying around. Okay. That's gonna do it here on our roundup of the latest cryptocurrency news. There wasn't much. Okay, but I want to talk to you, hang out with you, let you know about this giveaway we got going on. Have I mentioned it? I think I might have forgotten to tell you guys about it. But we do have a giveaway for 3%. Link is in the description below. If I added it, if not, it's on Twitter because you guys are complaining about no link. Be resourceful. That's what today's about. That's the lesson for today. Be resourceful. You've got the internet. You've got less money than you had 5 months ago. You have the resources to really change the world around you in theory, but you're probably too lazy. Okay? Don't waste your time. Make something of your life. Now is the time to get out there and research something new. Find out about these crazy coins no one's heard of, like EOS. Now's the time to do it. Because if you don't, you might miss out on the next $8 billion market cap coin. Could happen to any one of these. By the way, shout out to Stroke. $5 donation in some currency I don't know. What's your opinion on the new IP 918 stand? Bro, get it out. Come on, man. Come on. You think I know what that is? Look at me. I'm making YouTube videos, right? No one that knows anything makes YouTube videos. That's why we make videos. Clean up your camera. Is my camera dirty? Or question mark? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's the lesson for today. Be resourceful. And when there's blood in the streets, don't be afraid to double down. Get your chips in good. That's something I learned from poker that you can apply over to cryptocurrency. When you got a good spot, get those chips in good because that's all you can do. You can't control where they go after that, but you can control how you get your money in. All right. My camera's a bit blurry. It's stuck at 114p. Sounds bad. It's weird because it looks good to me. Anyway, that's going to do it here from us. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll see you guys again soon. Peace. Join the giveaway. Did I mention that? Have I mentioned the giveaway at some point here? I'm not sure if I have or not.